Welcome back to the deep dive. You're looking to get straight to the core, fast, and today we're doing just that.
That's right. We're tackling Domain 3, risk identification, monitoring, and analysis.
Yep, using our source material to pull out the absolute must-knows, our mission, if you will.
Yeah. To give you a solid grasp on how organizations actually spot, track, and, well, figure out security threats.
Think of it as your shortcut to understanding this whole area.
It's like looking under the hood, seeing how the risk management engine works day to day.
Okay, so foundationally, it all kicks off with the risk management process itself.
Absolutely. You can't manage what you can't see, or at least understand.
So visibility is key. We're talking things like risk registers.
Yeah, exactly. Those central lists of risks. But they're only useful if they're, kept alive, updated, owned.
Right. And it's not just listing them, it's sharing intelligence too, isn't it? Like indicators of compromise, IOCs.
Definitely. Sharing those little clues about attacks helps everyone. And you mentioned scores. CVSS comes into play here.
Ah, yes, the common vulnerability scoring system.
Yeah.
Giving vulnerabilities a number, basically.
Pretty much a standardized severity score, high score. That probably jumps to the top of the fix list, urgently.
And beyond just reacting, they try to look ahead. Impact assessments, threat modeling.
For sure. Impact assessment is about figuring out, okay, if this happens, how bad is it? And threat modeling. Well, that's like putting on your black hat.
Thinking like an attacker to find the holes first.
Precisely.
And this isn't just like random guesswork. There are structured ways to do this. Frameworks.
Oh, yeah. You've got big ones like ISO standards or NIST guidelines. They provide a roadmap, really.
A process to follow.
Yeah.
And part of that process is deciding how much risk you can even handle, right? Risk tolerance.
That's critical. Sometimes called risk appetite. How much pain can the organization's stomach?
And based on that, they decide what to do. Like accept it, transfer it.
Yep. Accept it if it's small enough or too costly to fix. Transfer insurance is the classic example you mentioned.
Or mitigate it. Put controls in place.
Yeah. Right. Or avoid it entirely. Maybe don't launch that risky service. And sometimes, though usually not advisable, they might just ignore it.
Which connects to the legal side too, I imagine.
Hugely. Understanding all this risk stuff is vital when you think about laws, regulations, privacy, GDPR, for example.
Yeah, knowing your jurisdiction, limitations, what data needs protecting.
Mm.
It all feeds back into how you identify and monitor risk.
And that naturally leads into the practical stuff, security assessments, vulnerability management.
So actually testing things,
Right.
Running scams, doing reviews.
Exactly. Security testing, looking at internal risks, supplier risks, even checking the system architecture before it's built.
And it's a cycle, isn't it? The vulnerability management life cycle.
It is. Find the weakness, assess it, fix it, check the fix worked, then repeat constantly.
Okay, so you've maybe fixed some things, but how do you know what's happening right now? That's the monitoring part.
That's it. Operating and monitoring your security platforms. It's about keeping an eye on everything continuously.
Like what sort of things?
Well, your applications, your firewalls, routers, servers, workstations, the whole environment.
Looking for anything unusual. Events of interest, as they say.
Mm-hmm. Anomalies, potential intrusions, someone making unauthorized changes, even just checking if you're staying compliant.
And all that watching creates, well, a lot of data. Logs.
Tons of it. Log management is crucial, just collecting and storing it all safely. But then you need to make sense of it.
Right, which is where aggregation and correlation come in. Pulling logs together.
Yeah, taking events from different places and piecing them together. Like, okay, this alert plus that weird login might actually be something serious.
So you've got the data, you've correlated it, now you analyze it.
Exactly. Analysis of monitoring results. You need a baseline first, What does normal actually look like?
So you can spot the deviations, the anomalies.
Right. And tools help here. Visualizations, dashboards showing trends, timelines of events, key metrics.
Makes it easier to digest than raw log files, I bet.
Much easier. Then you dig into the specific event data. And critically, you have to document what you find.
And communicate it. Tell the right people. Escalate.
Absolutely. Documenting findings, communicating them clearly, and knowing when to hit the panic button or at least the let's get more eyes on this button. That's key.
Okay, so that's a really solid overview we've just walked through. A deep dive into the core of Domain 3. Risk identification, monitoring, and analysis.
Yeah, hopefully listeners feel they've got a much clearer picture now of how organizations try to stay ahead of security risks. It's about being proactive.
So we've covered how they identify, track, and understand risks today. Which leaves us with the final thought.
Considering how quickly threats change, how fast everything evolves, how can organizations best adapt their monitoring and analysis to actually stay ahead? What's next for them?
Something to think about. How do you keep pace when the landscape shifts under your feet constantly? That wraps up this deep dive.